All right, let's get right into it. We're doing a deep dive into a single chapter from the book of Exodus. But listen, this is not going to be some dry history lesson. This is a story that's just packed with raw, high-stakes drama. We're talking about a massive crisis between a leader, his people, and their God.
So just imagine this for a second. You've been promised this incredible destination, right? The land of your dreams. Everything is set. But then, the one guide who makes the entire journey possible, the one whose presence is the whole point of the mission, suddenly says, yeah, you can go, but I'm not coming with you. That, right there, is the crisis at the very heart of Exodus chapter 33.
So let's set the stage here with the first part of the story. It all kicks off with a promise that comes with a really devastating threat. The people have just gotten the news they've been waiting for, but it's got a truly crushing condition attached to it.
And here it is, the bombshell. God tells Moses to lead the people to the promised land, this amazing place flowing with milk and honey. But then he drops this line, "But I will not go with you." The destination is still on the table, but the divine guide, the very presence they've been following, is out.
You've got to ask, right? Why? Why make this incredible promise only to pull back the very presence that makes the whole thing worthwhile? This is the question that really drives the first part of this whole drama.
Well, the text gives us the reason straight up. God calls the people stiff-necked. Now, this is an old-school term for being stubborn, rebellious, just unwilling to listen. The fear is that the people's rebellious nature is so at odds with God's own nature that having them in close proximity would literally lead to their destruction. You could say the relationship has become dangerously volatile. And you know what? The people get it. They understand this is terrible news. The text says when they heard these distressing words, they immediately started to mourn. They even stripped off all their ornaments, which was this powerful, visible sign of their grief. They knew that getting the land without the guide was basically a hollow victory. This whole crisis leads to a really fascinating solution. To manage this new, dangerous distance between God and the people, Moses sets up this kind of intermediary space, a neutral ground, if you will, called the tent of meeting.
And this creates a whole new dynamic. So inside the camp, you've got the stiff-necked people who are mourning and feeling that divine distance. But outside the camp, at this special tent, you have this designated place to talk to God, where a pillar of cloud shows up to signify that, yep, God's presence is here, and there's a clear line of communication open.
And this is the crucial part. While God is keeping his distance from the people, he's maintaining this incredibly close, personal relationship with Moses. The text says they would speak face to face, as one speaks to a friend. It's this unique access that makes Moses the perfect, and really the only, person who can step in and negotiate for his people.
So this special relationship sets the stage for the next part of our story, which is basically a high-stakes negotiation. Moses is about to use his unique connection to argue for the very soul of his nation. And Moses' opening argument is just brilliant. He doesn't make demands, he appeals to his personal relationship with God. He basically says, look, you say you're pleased with me, that you know me by name. If that's true, then teach me your ways so I can know you even better. It's a masterful move, grounding his entire request in their existing friendship.
And hey, it seems to work. God makes a big concession. He replies, my presence will go with you, and I will give you rest. Now, for most people, that would be it. Victory, right? Problem solved. But not for Moses. Not even close.
This is where Moses shows he's an absolute genius as a leader. He actually pushes back. He says, if your presence doesn't go with us, the whole community, then don't even bother sending us. He gets it. The land, the destination, that's not the real prize. The whole point is that God's presence is what makes them unique. It's what distinguishes them from every other nation on earth. Without that, they're just another tribe wandering to another piece of real estate.
And that argument seals the deal. God completely agrees, saying, I will do the very thing you have asked. The negotiation is a massive success. The divine presence is restored to the entire community, all because Moses understood what was truly at stake.
But Moses isn't finished. I mean, can you believe it? After winning this huge negotiation for his people, he now makes this incredibly bold request for himself. He pushes for something even bigger, something deeper, a direct experience of God's very essence. His request is so simple, but so audacious. He just says, now show me your glory. He wants to see past the pillar of cloud, past the friendly conversation. He wants to witness the fundamental reality of who God is.
God's response here is absolutely fascinating because of how he defines glory.
It's not some blinding light or a physical shape. Instead, God says, I will cause all my goodness to pass in front of you. So glory, in this context, is all about character. It's goodness, it's mercy, it's compassion. It's a profound reframing of what divine greatness really is.
But there has to be a limit. A critical condition is set, really for Moses' own protection. The full, unfiltered revelation is just too much for any human to handle. God tells him, "You cannot see my face, for no one may see me and live."
So to make this encounter happen safely, God lays out this very specific, almost surgical procedure. Moses has to stand on a rock, then God will place him in a crack in the rock and cover him with his hand as the full glory passes by. Only then will the hand be removed so Moses can see the back, a metaphor for the after effects, the trail of glory, but not the direct, fatal source. And this story leaves us with such a powerful question, not just about leadership, but maybe about our own lives. What Moses teaches us here is to ask, is success really about arriving at some destination we've picked out? Or is it about fighting to make sure that the presence that gives the journey all of its meaning and all of its distinction is right there with you every single step of the way?